Angie's asking, when you do begin this journey, she's specifically mentioning decreasing inflammation in the body or brain by eating cleaner. How long does it take for the brain to begin functioning right again?
You know, it can be as soon as 10 days. Your taste buds actually make themselves new every 10 days or so. So if you get on the right diet, initially you might actually feel like you have the flu as you withdraw from sugar, gluten, dairy, corn, soy. But after about 10 days, you just begin to feel clearer and happier. And so we'll often say, just give us 10 days. But obviously, we want you to do this for the rest of your life. Like, I'm not a big fan of detoxing. I'm a big fan of living detoxing. Like, why would you ever put toxic things in your body? I don't know if you were on when I said, if you had $1 million racehorse, would you ever feed it junk food? To me, that's just like so clear. It's like, well, of course you wouldn't, unless you were an idiot. But aren't you worth so much more? And I'm listening to a new book called The History of Sugar. And it's got such a dark history. I mean, it's really involved in slavery and the slave trade. And it's just so addictive. It's hard for people because they love it. And I got this new phrase I really love. It's like, but does it love you back? It's, come on, we're in a relationship. And I don't know, because I know Denise and I know how wonderful she is. I don't know if you've ever been in a bad relationship. Well, you have. I remember your main story. Part of it was about heartbreak. And I've been in bad relationships, and I'm 67 now, and I'm married to the love of my life. I'm not going to do bad relationships anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'm for certain not doing it with food or with something I drink, because I have total control. And why would I want to be in an abusive relationship with the food I eat? So I only want to eat things I love that love me back.
Altesh is basically asking, how do you balance the 4 areas of your vitality basket to ensure that there's harmony in what you're doing day to day?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And to me, I tend to, so that check that I just did as sort of like a year-end reflection, you can literally do the same thing as an early morning, like literally like 30-second check, literally. And I'll sometimes do this. I'll do like a wake up bucket check, and I'll scan all 3 buckets, and I'll be like, okay, so how's my vitality bucket? Like, what's my vitality bucket score? Like literally as I open my eyes lying in bed, you know, I'll be like, oh, it's a 6. Well, I slept kind of badly today. And I got a little bit of a headache, and I don't feel terrible, but I don't feel great. And then I'll scan, like, what about my connection bucket? You know, like, it's an 8. Like, I've got my wife and my best friend like right next to me, and we're going to spend the whole day together. I feel deeply connected to her and my family and my friends. And then contribution, I'll be like, well, that feels like a 9 to me. And then immediately what that does is it tells me, well, where am I probably going to focus a little extra love or a little extra intentionality that day? On my vitality bucket, right? Because that's the one that's running a little bit low. And then I'll do like the second level thing, and I'll look at those different elements, and I'll literally, in the blink of an eye, I'll give them just like a really quick raw score, because very quickly, that's actually going to tell me where to focus even more narrowly my energy to just give a little bit of love to something.
Let me ask you a couple questions here, some speed round from the community that I just thought was really great. And I know you talked about your night routine and how people struggle with that. You know, what are some fundamental must-haves you feel like for that evening wind down or evening routine?
I mean, for me, for starters, it is actually setting timelines on the things, on the way you shut yourself down or slow yourself down from the day. And I've got the same structure for my kids, and a lot of my stuff revolves around my kids. So I know that for my kids now, it's 8 o'clock, all devices are off, and that includes adults. All of us, devices are off at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, it's that getting ready for bed, it's that spending time together, it's that calming our body down so that we can get ready for bed, right? And just being present with each other and talking about the day and all that kind of stuff. Because family for me is everything. And that's, for me, the happiest part of my day is, I can have a great day, but if at the end of the day, I get to the end of the day and my kids had something tough going on, I'm like, oh, okay, what can I do to help them and support them? So it is that wind down process of shutting off from devices. And then just like I do in the morning process, it's being present with myself. And I notice the difference. I'm not perfect about doing my planner all the time. Sometimes I'll miss a morning or miss an evening. And when I don't, I'm basically just not, just like I said in the example during this, I'm not being that pilot. I'm being that pilot who just runs on the plane and starts flying without going through my checklist process to make sure that I'm actually going where I want to go and doing what I want to do. And so I make sure to be present with myself emotionally and go, well, what am I actually feeling from today? What do I need to release? Whether it's anger or frustration, not really, I don't really get angry anymore. I used to be angry as a teenager a good amount, but anger is not an emotion that I really dive into. Frustration definitely would be. But I recognize what emotions I have and I tap to release them, right? I acknowledge them and I release them so that I can actually get myself to bed. And I always just go back to acknowledging that I'm doing my best, right? That we're all doing our best. That, no matter how much I, want to beat myself up or think, oh, I could have done better or I should be further along. I mean, that's a common theme for everybody is, oh, I should be further along in my life or my business or further along with my health. And I just acknowledge and go, hey, I'm doing my best. And the more I beat myself up about that, the more I rob my joy of being present with life. Ooh. At the end of the day, what happens to me, what matters to me is my health. Like, man, when I can get a good run in or play soccer, that is the most alive I feel in any given day. And then just being present with people. And I have to always remind myself being present with people because I'm always around people. The question is, am I actually present with them in a way where I can enjoy those interactions? And so I just remind myself of those things. I do gratitude every evening. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for in the evening. I think that's a really important process. I notice in my planner, literally the second I get to that part and I start tapping into gratitude, my whole body just goes, and it just calms me down. And I go, oh yeah, there's always so much to be grateful for every single day. And so I go through that process. So those are just some of the things I do in the evening.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.